Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Stephanie White wants to continue to build the Indiana Fever around Kelsey Mitchell. Let's talk about this. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate all your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out, of course, to the 19. By the way, I didn't realize it. I would have said something before. I don't know what I would do for it, but we hit 1,000 videos on this channel, which is about not quite a year and a half old. I think it was May 31st, something like that, of 2024 is the first video that I did. And we have hit 1,000 uh, videos. So thank you all that you have stuck around all this time. By the way, we've hit 200 subscribers over on the Intellectual Hillbilly. Turns out the 10 underrated horror films that I did was a hit. That has more views, I think, on that video than the rest of the channel combined, but go check that out if you want. But you know that I have been very critical of Stephanie White. I give her credit for where the Fever got to at the end of the season. I still don't think she's the right coach. I have not changed my opinion on that, and I've given a lot of reasons why. I do not think she's the coach for Caitlin Clark. In fact, I was looking at a highlight just the other day with that pass she threw to Sophie Cunningham. It was a big deal where she made the block defensively, gets the ball, throws that pass to Sophie Cunningham, absolutely perfect. And I thought someone else put that up, and I thought to myself, you know what? That's the type of thing Stephanie White wants to eliminate from Caitlin Clark's game. And we have that directly from Caitlin Clark when she got pulled out of a game for a pass that she made and the whole thing about risk and reward and all of that. And I just felt like Stephanie White wants to limit Caitlin Clark, wants to diminish Caitlin Clark, wants to turn Caitlin Clark into a typical WNBA point guard. So I want you to listen to this clip and we're going to talk about it. And I want to know what all the Stephanie White supporters, the players who are the players, the fans that are still gung ho about Stephanie White because of what the team did in terms of their players. And like I've said, those were players that I talked about the Fever bringing in before this. So it's not like they had this huge decrease in talent. There were good players out there that were available because that's just the way the WNBA works. But I want you to listen to this. This is very, very important. We got to talk about this. Let's try this again, okay?
Priority a year ago, and she's the number one priority this year. She's been so important. And, I said this last year, Kelsey deserves to go through this stage of her Indiana Fever career. She's been through sort of the worst of the worst, for lack of a better term, in and out of the building, growing pains with getting the organization back. You don't get back-to-back number one picks unless you've been at the bottom for a while, right? And she showed up like a pro every day, and she just continues to work and continues to grow, and she carried the franchise, and she carries the teams in different ways, and she deserves the opportunity to do that. I mean, it's close to home. For her, we love her. We want to continue to build, around her and continue for her to have success. I thought she was so instrumental in everything that we did. You lose everybody that we lost, and Kelsey Mitchell.
There you have it, folks. She said it at the beginning. She said it at the end. You listen to the way she talks about Kelsey Mitchell. She is 100% about building around Kelsey Mitchell, about making Kelsey Mitchell the absolute star of the Indiana Fever. Not about the generational talent in Caitlin Clark, not about the scorer that Caitlin Clark is, not about the passer that Caitlin Clark is. For Stephanie White, the Indiana Fever are all about Kelsey Mitchell 100%. They talked about it last year. You cannot listen to this and tell me that Stephanie White is the coach for Caitlin Clark. She talked about Kelsey Mitchell. She showed up every day. Well, guess what? It's a freaking job. I am so sick of hearing about athletes and how they show up every day, even though the team might be winning. Well, guess what? All the rest of us show up every day too. We get our butts out of bed very, very early in the morning. Go and look. Hey, man, I do easier stuff compared to a lot of people. I get to sit at a computer, and I don't mean even just this stuff, but my other work. And some people go out and they manual labor 10, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, busting their butts 52 weeks a year in the hopes that maybe maybe they get a week vacation that they can barely afford. I don't want to hear about, oh, well, the team wasn't playing well, so it's so impressive that a player showed up and did their job. Give me a freaking break for 4 months out of the year. Are you kidding me with that? But here's the other thing. She's so amazing. She's so great to build around. Why the hell did they suck until Aaliyah Boston and then Caitlin Clark showed up? All those years they sucked. She didn't elevate the team. She didn't elevate the play. And keep in mind, understand, I'm not trying to rain on Kelsey Mitchell's parade. I've said it a million times that she's the best shooting guard in the WNBA. So please understand that what I'm talking about is what Stephanie White is saying about building around Kelsey Mitchell and why they should build around Kelsey Mitchell. When you have Caitlin Clark, a generational player, Caitlin Clark, maybe the most talented, I'm not saying right now the best, but the most talented player in the WNBA, who also has that rare mentality of a Kobe Bryant or a Michael Jordan or a Tom Brady, these players that do more with their talent than you think they ever could. The Caitlin Clark, who's the first rookie to ever get a triple double and had two. And look, man, she would have had 4 or 5 if it wasn't for Christy Sides. We could go on and on with the record she broke, the single season assist record, the single game assist record. She would have had it in the All-Star game if she hadn't allowed Enrique to keep going off because Enrique couldn't miss a single shot during the All-Star game. The fact that she led the league, she didn't have just the number, she led the league in assists per game. And by the way, that number went up in the 13 games that she played this year. We could talk about the 3 threes in 32 seconds, which didn't even include the long three in front of Brianna Stewart that they laughed about because it was so absolutely ridiculous. I'm sorry. I get that you might like Stephanie White as a coach, but she is absolutely the wrong coach for Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin Clark needs to get it into her head and understand that she needs to start paying attention to what she needs to do for her and stop all this other crap and being used as a punching bag and all this other nonsense. She needs to do what's best for her. It doesn't matter if she's close to home, folks. We never hear that conversation with any other player in professional sports. If she wants to diminish her own career because she wants to stay close to home, hey man, I mean, it's her life, right? But I think that's a shame for all the fans, and I think that's a shame for Caitlin Clark as a basketball player with what she has done and what she has brought to the game and the way she has elevated and put a spotlight on women's basketball that it has never had before. And she is not the player you're building around. She is not the priority on your team. That is like building around Scottie Pippen instead of Michael Jordan. That is like building around Tony Parker instead of Tim Duncan. It is absolutely absurd, and no good coach would ever do such a thing. But this is all about the narrative. This is all about the WNBA old guard. This is all about Stephanie White continuing to do what the rest of the league has wanted to do, which is to diminish Caitlin Clark as a basketball player. That's all this is about. So for her, it's all about Kelsey Mitchell, and of course a little bit about Aaliyah Boston, but it certainly is not about Caitlin Clark, and it never has been. You can't show me a single thing where words are equated with action that Stephanie White has shown to be the coach for Caitlin Clark. It's just simply not there. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Appreciate you checking out this video. As always, do me a favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate it. We're slowly motoring on to 15,000, and I will talk to you later.